seen many different options that you can do for this combo that I am about to demonstrate in the video, but I'm going to go ahead and dive into this. The first thing you're going to need is your central pneumatic 1/5 horsepower compressor. As advertised in the image, this is everything that's going to come with it. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the description. This thing does go for $89, of course. That's everything that's going to come in this kit. So before you purchase this, take a look at that. The next thing you're going to need is some thread seal tape. This will of course ensure that you don't have any air leaking out. You don't want that. This is only 99 cents, so it's not going to cost you nothing. The next thing you're going to need is a few different kinds of fittings. The first one is a double-sided male brass pipe coupling. It's going to come with two, so it's going to cost you about $3.99. It doesn't have to be a Merlin brand as long as it's a 1/4 inch. Second, you're going to need a T connector. It's going to have 2 female ends and 1 male end. Just like this, is going to cost you about $3.99. This is what's going to help you connect the air hose, which feeds the air from the air compressor, which you will have to purchase an extra one other than the one that already comes with your compressor kit. Of course, that's priced at $7.99. The next thing on the list is the coil hose for the blowgun. You can purchase this individually for about $15 to $20. Now, keep in mind that if you purchase the kit, you will have everything I just mentioned before, except for one thing will be missing. Unfortunately, it will not have a T connector, so you have to purchase that separately. But I do highly recommend you do the kit. But if you want other different colors other than that yellow, most kits don't come with nothing but the yellow. You may be able to find something like that on Amazon. I'll link everything you need, of course, below. As for the blowgun, you can definitely individually purchase it, but it does come in the kit that I just previously showed you. So keep that in mind. If you want different kinds of blowguns, you can definitely purchase them. They go for about $4, maybe more. But anyway, let's go ahead and start setting this thing up. Please feel free to go ahead and start following along. Otherwise, go and purchase everything, then come back to this video, play it again, and watch me work. I'm going to run this in real time, so you watch everything be done properly. I don't want to speed it up as I usually would do with my tutorial videos. This is a step-by-step, or in other words, walkthrough of how you do everything. When it comes to the tape, you don't use a whole lot of it. Do about 5 inches is fair. And the first thing I recommend that you start by taping the main feed. This is where the air comes out of the compressor. Remember, taping ensures that you keep the air sealed in your air hose. You don't want any leaks, otherwise this will not be effective and it's irrelevant to be using a compressor. If you go ahead and just feed your air hose or whatsoever to run the air through, it won't be effective. There's going to be air leaking out. You will hear it too when you have your compressor running, like a slow leak from a tire. If you ever heard air coming out of a tire, is going to sound just like that. So you don't want that. Make sure you seal everything that needs to be taped up. So now that we have that established, we're going to move on and get the male double-sided connector taped up. Remember, don't use too much tape. Just make sure that you have a good lock on the air. So I have my male connector, which is double-sided. And if you didn't watch part 1 breaking down all the different parts, a male connector is the one that has the threading on the outside instead of the inside like the female connectors. So just a FYI for those of you who didn't watch part 1. If you need to be a little bit more educated on the parts that I am using, please feel free to go and watch that. It's a very short video, about 5 minutes. It's not too long. It's not a full length as long as this one is. But the reason for why this is long is every piece of information that I have in this video, all the details are very important. So you got to follow through and watch the whole full thing. Don't play yourself. You want to keep it safe too. Air compressors don't seem like something that's dangerous, but it can be. I mean, this thing can blow up. Maybe. I've never seen it happen, but you don't want that air being trapped and have something become a whole catastrophe. You don't want nothing catastrophic happening to nobody. But I believe like blowing up only happens when it's like an old compressor. So if it's a brand new one, you should be fine. So I don't mean to alarm anybody. I'm sorry about that, but just be careful. Take care, and please do everything safely and properly. It goes a long way. Trust. So the one thing about taping is very therapeutic, and knowing that you are assuring your safety for yourself and others is priority. So make sure when you're doing this, it's with some love, you know? You gotta put some love into it, you know? Extra love, actually. What am I talking about? So we're gonna go ahead and grab the T connector, which is the one male end and two female ends, which only needs to be taped on one side, and which is the male end, of course. That's done, sealed and ready to go. There was nothing much to that one. Real fast, I'm gonna go ahead and open up my blowgun just to have it ready and prepped for the air hose, which I will be connecting in a moment. One thing that I must mention is I don't really tape up the airbrush because the braided air hose that you connect to the airbrush already comes with a black O-ring, which ensures a tight seal. Right after I'm done opening this pack, I'm going to go ahead and tape up my airbrush anyway, just for demonstration purposes. And like I say, you don't have to. The hose is already pretty much set. That could be a real big headache when it comes to all that retaping up. If you're like me, I tend to bounce back and forth between my gravity feed airbrush and my siphon feed. So really quickly, you see this piece right here? This is called a safety nozzle. I highly recommend that if you're not very familiar with how to use the blowgun. The pressure that comes out of the rubber tip that usually comes equipped with the blowgun can be very powerful. So please take it easy on your clients, spare them, especially when you're getting around their ear. This can be very frightening on the kids especially, so be cool. Take advantage of the safety nozzle. All that other stuff is irrelevant. Like I mentioned before in the part 1 video, there's going to be a lot of extra attachments that are going to come in the kits that won't be of any use in the barbershop. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tape up this airbrush. Then right after, the next thing that I'm going to move over to is my 2 air hose. I have one shorter than the other. This doesn't really matter. All I'm saying is you got to remove the 1/8 connector in order to wrap around the 1/4 inch hose. Okay, I'm gonna unscrew that really quickly and show you in a moment, so just bear with me. Let me tape this airbrush up and we'll move on to the air hose. I just wanted to prep you for that because I know some people will look and see like, what the heck is that? What are you doing? What's that one thing you just unscrewed off? Well, there is an extra 1/8 attachment that does come with your air hose, and you can unscrew that. Then underneath the threading, which is a 1/4 inch, you tape that up, put a 1/8 back on. So now that I have the airbrush all set and ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the air hose, and I'm gonna zoom in a little bit on that so I can show you a female 1/8 attachment that has a 1/4 inch male on the opposite. See those ends? Those are the 1/8. I'm gonna unscrew those, and underneath that there's gonna be a male thread in which I'm gonna have to tape up on both ends. Just tape them up this one time and you can forget about it. After that, you're set. You don't have to do it again unless something's leaking out. Then you might have to retape or add more tape. You gotta be the judge. Okay, now that we have the air hoses all set and taped up, everything is safely attached back on. I'm going to go ahead in a second and open up my new Merlin coil hose This thing is fire. I'm really excited for it. I've been using my yellow one for a very long time. I got a blue one now, so I'm gonna pop this thing open. I'm super excited for this thing. I'm talking about blue is my favorite color next to green. Just thought I'd throw that out there really quick. So seeing this in the store had my eyes just go big. You know, I was over at Harbor Freight. Look, I saw that thing and I had to have it. But the cool thing about this Merlin air hose, it does come pre-taped up already. The thing is ready to go. All that's left to be done is attach this to the T-connector, and on the opposite end, the blowgun. And that's a wrap with that. It's all set. So in a moment, I'm going to start connecting everything and wrap up this project. Because at this point, everything's all taped up and ready to go. This tape is no longer needed, so of course I'm going to put that away. So I'm going to go ahead and put my T-connector on there. Twist it on there pretty tight. If you need to grab some pliers or wrench or something, that's why I have the wrench on the side to tighten this up so it's airtight. You don't want any air leaking out if you want this thing to work efficient. I'm going to grab my blowgun and attach it on the other end of the coil hose. Real simple stuff. Just make sure you get this on there tight. Like I say, this thing already came pre-taped, which was lovely because I didn't feel like doing any more taping. I'm sure most of you all are sick of taping already, but it's necessary to do so. Please make sure you guarantee safety. I know I mentioned I've never seen a compressor blow up before, but one thing that did happen when I didn't tape my air hose on properly without tape, it got to the point where it got really loose. And this one day when I turned on my compressor, when the air started to fill up in the tank, that hose blew clean off, heading towards my face. That could have been an eye. So please maintain safety. Make sure when you're executing your install, you put that extra love into it. Everything you will be doing is going to consist of you being very sterile. And when it comes down to the color mixing with your airbrush, you have to be clean. When you're blowing off your tools, your workspace, you have to be clean. Don't be like these old school barbers that use their mouths to blow off their tools. We live in the 21st century. Please act accordingly. So for a moment there, I was confused on which one was the longer hose. I was looking for the shorter one. The shorter one is what you should attach to the T-connector. As for the other end, it goes directly to the air compressor. The reason I use the air hose, which is shorter, to connect to the compressor is very self-explanatory because you're not using it for too much. It's just feeding air to your blowgun as well as your airbrush hose. So the airbrush hose is going to be my 10-foot hose, which is the longer one. I'm going to attach that one to the T-connector with the 1/8, and of course on the opposite end you have the 1/4 inch, which will connect to the airbrush. As for the coil hose, it will be connected to the blowgun. And just in case some of you are wondering, why is the blowgun coil hose so long? I mean, yeah, like that thing is 25 feet. Trust me, this thing's gonna play a bigger role than just blowing hair off your tools. You're gonna be dusting off every single surface of your room. Those hard to reach spaces and spots, this thing right here has you covered. I'm going to go ahead with my 10-foot and attach it to the T-connector first, and I will get the airbrush last. This is the final connection that you will have to make. This is a very easy process. You can watch this video a few times. I really hope every one of you who watched this far into this video found this helpful. I believe it was very straightforward. I tried to be very cut and dry. I did not want to put out any complicated information at all. I wanted everybody to see exactly what I was doing. This is the reason why I ran this in real time. I didn't really want to speed it up. I wanted to make sure that I was showing people exactly what they needed to do due to safety reasons. So this is nice and set, ready to go. Everything's tight. As soon as I secure everything all the way completely, I'm going to move this thing over to my other station. Yes, I have two different setups. To some people, this may sound like it's overkill, but it's definitely very necessary. Due to physical and ergonomic purposes, as well as different tools, I do this for a reason because I don't like to stay in the one same spot. I like to turn my body, move it around. I like to reach and stretch out for things. Never allow my body to lock up. I don't wish that on anybody. So if you're listening, barbers and stylists. Keep your body moving, stretch and exercise regularly. Anyway, the other two chests that I put this thing on, which is my other workstation, is because of how small this is, it fits right on top of my two chests perfectly. I didn't really want a big compressor to just blow off hair and airbrush on people. Doesn't make sense to have this huge bulky equipment just to do some simple task. It's not all that serious. I mean, if you want to go ahead and purchase a $500 to $1,000 compressor just to blow off hair and airbrush paint onto people, be my guest. But just a FYI, if you do want to invest, paying more means something more quiet and bigger. If you want something more compact, you can go with something cordless. Otherwise, go with the Central Pneumatic. It's rated at 1/5 horsepower, and that's all you really need. I will be sure to place every single item that you saw in this video in the description below. For anyone who has any questions, as easy as this was, I know that was a ton of information to take in. Please feel free to leave a comment. I will be more than happy to help answer. And I haven't mentioned this whole time through this whole video. I didn't think it really mattered. I was just putting this out there to make sure that everybody got the information. But please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on all my different platforms. If you know anybody that may find this video helpful in any way, informative whatsoever, please share it. I'll catch you on the next one.